Welcome back to Big Sky Buckets. I'm Big Sky, and today we're talking the in-season tournament yet again. But this time we're going to talk about the knockout rounds, which teams have made it, which teams will go to Las Vegas, which teams will make it to the championship game, and which team is probably going to end up hoisting the trophy at the end. Before we get started, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. I would really appreciate every single subscription as I get this thing up and going. I know I'm pretty new onto the scene, but I'm putting a lot of effort into this, and I'm hoping you guys enjoy all the content that I'm just pumping out. And yeah, that would mean a lot to me. Give it a like, comment down below what your thoughts are on what I have to say today and in past videos and all that. And if you're an audio-only listener, give it a rate, give it a listen, and let's just jump right into it. So the one thing we want to talk about before we get into all the nitty-gritty of the knockout stages, we need to go back to the group play stage really quick, because one of the main things that is coming out, as this was the first time they ever tried it, there was going to be things that worked, which I think for the most part, this worked very well. It gave a lot of, it made teams really take this seriously, even if they didn't full-heartedly believe in the in-season tournament for the regular season. And that's the good that came out of it. Now, there is some bad. There is some controversy that did come out of this. And that goes to one of the rules that they implemented here, which was point differential. And a lot of players and teams and just people in media and social media alike had a lot of opinions about point differential and the fact that when games are over, there's an unwritten rule in basketball, basically always has been, is when you're just destroying a team near the end of the game, you're supposed to let your foot off the gas out of respect for the other team. And one of the things, if the only time that this doesn't really happen is when there are teams that are rivals, right? Or new rivals, all of that, that's because they hate each other. But here there's teams like the the new look Celtics with the new look Bulls a couple nights ago, where the Celtics were up 30 points at the end of the game, or 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and they started hack-a-shacking the center on the Bulls, Andre Drummond, who is not a good free throw shooter. And the coaches kind of got into it for a second, and then they walked away, because the main thing here is Billy Donovan, the head coach of the Bulls, was asking, why are you doing this? And the main thing here is because of the point differential system, for the Celtics to move on over the Orlando Magic, they had to win by close to 30 points. And this in and of itself is breaking an unspoken rule. And I think my opinion is probably they just need to get rid of this rule, because I think one of the harder, I'm open-minded to both sides, but the main thing here, where I'm going to take a stance on, is that I think it's much easier to just go with the unspoken rule, which has been in the game for as long as it has, than try and force players that have been playing the game for years and years and years to accept that this unspoken rule is going to be broken during this time. I think you just need to find a different way to integrate a tiebreaker in. I think you just take that out and you add in, instead of the in-season tournament matches, you do, or what's your regular season record just in general, and then whoever has the highest just moves on as the wild card. Because to me, the point differential thing, it's going to get messy at some point down the road. Someone's going to take it really bad, and there's going to come, as much as we might like some good old athletes fighting each other, I think it might get to a point where it's a little bit worse than that. So I think that's something to consider. For Adam Silver, I think he's going to have to mold this over. Now that we're moving on from the point differential values of what's going to, how to move on, I think for Adam Silver, he just molds this over until next year or until the off season, and then comes back and says, I want to change the rules. Because I think that's what he's going to have to do, personally. But now we can move to knockout rounds. So the teams that moved on were the Milwaukee Bucks in Group East B. You had the Indiana Pacers from East A, and you had Boston Celtics from East C. And then you had the wild card team as the New York Knicks. So Milwaukee versus the Knicks at Milwaukee, and you have the Celtics at the Pacers. And then in the West, you had Lakers winning West A, you had the Pelicans winning West B, you had the Kings winning West C, and the Suns being the wild card. So Suns at Lakers and Pelicans at Kings. So let's start in the East. And we're going to see, this is to see which teams are going to go to the semifinals, which will also be in Vegas. So I think the Bucks will beat the Knicks. They did so in the in-season tournament already. I think the Bucks, even though I've been a big critic so far of them, they are starting to find their stride. I wouldn't be surprised if the Knicks find a way to win this game, but I do think their over-reliance on Julius Randle this year, as per usual, is something that will bite them in the ass during this game, especially because as of recently, it feels kind of like either Tom Thibodeau rolls with Emmanuel Quigley, their sixth man for the Knicks, or Jalen Brunson in games. And I think you need to run with Jalen Brunson a little bit more, or play them both together. I know the defense wouldn't be as good, but like the Bucks perimeter defense and their backcourt defense is not very good anyway. So if he does that, there's a big chance the Knicks will win, but I'm pretty certain the Bucks are going to move on. And then Celtics, Indiana. As high as I've been on Indiana and how fun they are to watch, this is like the worst team they could face. This sucks. It's like one of the only teams to actually go 4-0. Them and the Lakers were the only two teams to actually go 4-0, I believe. This is a bad matchup. This is just straight up a terrible matchup for them. I think you need a Tyrese Halliburton masterclass to move on, but I'm not certain. Like, even though the playmaking is better for Indiana, the high-end talent of the starting five for the Celtics is just significantly better, and the Celtics have already beat the hell out of the Pacers at least once this year by 30 points. So Celtics, Milwaukee will be the first game in Vegas. That's at least what I think will happen. In the West, let's move over to the West now. You have Lakers, Suns. Now, when I did my first in-season tournament predictions, most of those were wrong, including Suns winning that bracket over the Lakers. I will not make that mistake again, even if it costs me being wrong again. I will give my credit to the Lakers, despite how much of a roller coaster they are. I do think that one of the Lakers' biggest problems this year has been getting up for some games, which is not good in the grand scheme of things, but it is good for, okay, this is a knockout stage kind of game. There's actual meaning here, and some of the guys that aren't getting paid as much have they have a real reason to win this game because everyone's going to win $500,000 if they win the whole thing. So I think this is a game they'll win. They've already beaten the Suns during the in-season tournament before. I'm not as confident about this one, as you probably can tell, but I'm just going to go with the Lakers because I was wrong before, so let's switch sides. Sorry, I'm not going to double down after I was wrong before. It's really about, is Anthony Davis just going to shit the bed? If he does, then yeah, the Suns will win. If he doesn't, I think the Lakers will win. And then the final game, the one I think I'm most interested in. So I like the Kings and I like the Pelicans. I'm actually more interested in the Pelicans right now because I think that a leap is coming for them as they start to get healthy. And I do think that's inevitably going to be the reason they win. The other thing, the Pelicans have beaten the Kings twice already this year, so they kind of have their number a little bit, even if it's just a smidge. And I'm about to make a TikTok about Zion, or a little TikTok short about Zion and his level of play recently. I think that probably moves the needle for me, along with the fact that apparently Trey Murphy III is about to come back. They're really coming back from injury, and that's going to make a world of difference, along with Dyson Daniels. Dyson Daniels is probably going to play a lot of minutes in this game, and he's going to give De'Aaron Fox a lot of help. He's been a great defender against the primary guards of teams, and I think that is going to be the major difference in this game. I'm sorry, Kings fans. Again, this one should go 50-50. I'm just a little bit higher on the Pelicans currently. You can see the shift in their team. It's happening right before our eyes, whereas the Kings have already made that shift. So I think the Pelicans got this one. So Pelicans, Lakers, Bucks, Celtics. I think the Celtics will just outright win. This is, again, a bad matchup for the Bucks. The Bucks, I talked about a long time ago. There's a triangle of teams that I think were the top tier teams going into the season. I think the Bucks were designed to beat the Nuggets. The Nuggets were designed to beat the Celtics, and the Celtics were designed to beat the Bucks. Therefore, I think they're going to beat the Bucks, and they'll move on to the championship round. I don't need to spend too much time on it. I just think that backcourt defense of the Bucks is going to be their downfall. And until they address that issue by the trade deadline, teams like the Celtics, higher end teams, are going to be a threat to the Bucks night in, night out. And then in the West... It would be cool to see Lakers-Celtics. I just don't necessarily think that because, like I said, I think in order to hit that stride that the Pelicans are going to hit, I actually do think that this one's much tougher. This is a much tougher call here, and I'm going to go with my gut. And I know it's going to be wrong, but the roller coaster of the Lakers has been more apparent than the roller coaster of the Pelicans, who are now getting back from injury. And there's some key POA defenders like Jared Vanderbilt and even Cam Reddish and his wing defense that are injured currently for the Lakers, and I think that could make a difference, and I think that's going to be the primary difference. So I think the Pelicans will win. Even though they have LeBron and AD, I like what I've seen from Zion and Ingram a lot recently, along with the fact that they're getting healthier, and they just have had a lot of I like their defense a lot, and I think their offense is about to take a leap. So that's why I have them beating the Lakers. So Celtics, Pelicans. I'm not going to keep riding with the Pelicans all the way through. I think they're really good. I also think that a team like both of these teams probably struggle with playmaking. I lean more towards the Celtics just because I need to see more of it from Zion, even though I've seen a good chunk of it from Zion. I don't love CJ as a primary playmaker, and we've seen from the Celtics at least that this is a veteran team, and that veteran team will want to finally win something. Jason Tatum has something to play for here, opposed to a more inexperienced team overall in the Pelicans. So I think the Celtics will do this. I think they'll be the first team to win the in-season tournament and all of that good stuff. And yeah, that's what I got for you guys today. I know it's not like a full-on breakdown, but it's not. This isn't as short, but it's not as long as the other ones. I think we start getting back into the flow of things in the next couple of days or weeks and whatnot. Maybe tomorrow's video will be, all right, tomorrow we might need to break down the Warriors. The Warriors-Clippers will decide if I do a Warriors video episode tomorrow. If the Warriors lose, we have to talk about this. Because now, then there's like a sample size enough of like, there are younger teams that are starting to find their stride, like the Pelicans, like the Kings, like those kinds of teams that are starting to separate themselves from the pack. Even the Clippers starting to find their way back to 500. The Clippers get back to 500, then there's a genuine issue with this Warriors team. So I think Warriors video is more than likely tomorrow, but we'll see how that game goes. I'll watch that game tonight, and then we'll get back, and obviously, if they lose, I'm going to talk about the Warriors, and if the Warriors win, I'll try and talk about some other team that I haven't yet really touched on, maybe. So yeah, well, that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. Give it a sub, like, comment down below, all of that good stuff, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.